G'day and welcome to another episode of Nothing Like a Good Book, where we feature authors from all around America and all around the globe if they want to. We're dedicated to authors. That's what the show is about. We like to, try to discover your book, and we love to promote your book, and hopefully it'll help you sell a few of your book. Listen, it can be fiction, nonfiction. It can be an ebook, could be for Kindle, could be massive novel, like Gone with the Wind. It can be anything. You wrote it. It's your message. It's from your heart, whether it sells 10 million or nothing. It's your baby. And if you'd like to get it out there and have more people know about it cost effectively, by all means, just email me at mark@nlgb.info. mark@nlgb.info. Because the show's about trying to help you, all right? And also keep the big scammers out of the game as well. That's what we're trying to do. So my guest for this particular episode is Dr. Noah McArthur. He's an experienced pastor, educator, and consultant. He spent his career guiding individuals and families and organizations as well through times of transition and renewal. He's no dingbat. He holds advanced degrees in theology and leadership. He's recognized for his ability to combine academic rigor with deep compassion. That's a nice combination. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. McArthur to the stage. Hi, Doc. How you doing?
Hello, Mark. How are you? Glad to be here.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you indeed. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but I just want to show quickly, your latest book is A Widow's Walk. It's a guidance for life and loss. Okay, now, quickly, an overview. What's it going to tell us later on? What are we going to delve into?
Yeah, the gist of the book is really helping individuals to navigate those uncharted waters. Loss is a language that everyone understands. The sound and vibration is identical. It hurts. So the book itself helps an individual to literally navigate through those uncharted waters and step-by-step process. Well, no one really knows how to get through the process until you're in the process.
You're in the process,
and
right?
Ultimately, it's a trust the process one day at a time. And the book is more of a ministry than it is a book itself. From start to finish, it's a 20 plus year compilation of information to just help individuals get through.
Right. Fascinating stuff. And I can tell you now, there's a lot of people that could do with that. It is written with sensitivity and depth. This is a review combining scriptural truths, pastoral wisdom, and real world insights to help readers navigate grief with honesty while gradually rediscovering strength and purpose.
Yes.
Murder when you lose somebody. You lose heart, soul, will to do anything, will to continue, all sorts of things. It's pretty sad. But you're saying, this isn't about quick fixes as well.
No, it's not. It's a process. And ironically enough, the book is a widow's walk, and it's a journey all by itself. And the journey itself is not just for what we consider widows when we think of elderly. Widow is anyone. My daughter, my firstborn, is a widow. She's 37 years old. And we lost my son-in-law 2 years ago. My mother, we passed 40 years ago now. My dad was a widower for almost 10 years. So I've had the chance to, and as I pastored 4 churches, what I discovered was that walk is a walk. It's a journey. It's literally a journey. It's a one day at a time, from the time you get up to the time you lie back down. Right. And just to make it real quick, according to the CDC, the baby boomers are living about 17% longer than they had anticipated. So many of them are outliving a spouse. So what happens next?
Right.
And that's really what we're addressing. We're addressing just those.
What I want to do here is bring up your original book, because as we say, this wasn't your first. This is rather unique. Messages from Mom, Moments of Motivation. Tell us about this one.
My mother passed 1987. I was going into my senior year in high school, and
Whoa.
I'm just so happened to be named after my maternal grandfather, who was a pastor, preacher, and deacon, and my mother was very close to her dad. So we had an extra, So I'm one of 14 children. My
Right.
mom and dad had all these kids, and then they wound up adopting other kids. I'm like, man, will we ever stop? Long and short of it, as I grew up, I started preaching when I was 12, 13 years old because I mimicked Dr. Martin Luther King. I
Hmm.
mimicked my grandfather, my maternal grandfather. And as time would have it, my mother was, I remember the night. It was a Friday evening,
Uh-huh.
and we're getting ready for a fun day. And my mother complained about her head, and we'd always talk. And we talked about what my mother liked to hear from me was poetry. And my mother would quote me poetry. And there were messages that she would give me. And that's my beautiful, beautiful mother.
Uh-huh.
And my mom would tell me all the time, whatever you're looking for is looking for you, you know. And
Interesting. Right.
that resonates with me because my dad would tell her the same thing. So as time would have it, my mom passed out that night. I picked her up, put her on the couch. Unbeknown to me, my mother was having a stroke. She had a massive
Oh,
stroke that had triggered a stroke from 20 years prior. And
okay.
called my sisters. They came over. We called the ambulance. And I have to get this in here. When my mother was passing out, she was making some tuna salad. And she was tasting her tuna salad, and never forget it. And she took this piece of tuna, and that was the last thing she'd done. When the
Right.
paramedics had got to the house, they asked, "Is she allergic to anything?" We said, "Yeah, penicillin." And they were just about to inject her with penicillin.
Oh, right.
So my mother regurgitated this huge piece of tuna. I will never forget that.
Hmm.
That did not resonate for me for 20 years later. When I
Hmm.
finished the book, it took me 20 years to really get it in. 2009, I wrote
Right.
this book. And
There
I
you
never
go.
told anyone about what happened that night until I wrote the book.
All right.
The night my mother passed, she passed holding my hand
That's
in the
lovely.
hospital. And that's the whole gist of the book. There are poetry,
Okay.
there are poems in there, there are messages from my mother, and I just wanted to share them with the world,
That's
how
very,
those
very
two
nice
years.
indeed. Yes, that was mom.
Yeah.
We all love our moms. I lost mine at 58 years of age, so she was pretty young.
Wow.
But
Wow.
she had a job to do to bring me into the world, and
Yeah.
I wonder why sometimes. But listen, this shot that I've got here, that's Dad, right?
That's my mom and dad. And man,
Uh huh.
that guy, he was really my first teacher. My dad was it was 8 boys and 6 girls,
Let me
and my
see. You got
dad
a shot of that.
yeah, that's
That's a
us
heck
right
of a
there.
family. What do you got there? You got a football team, basketball
Yeah,
team, and
man,
a
it's a
what? And
lot
a
of
baseball
them.
team.
And 3 of those are now deceased. One of them are not pictured, but 3 of them are now deceased. And
Hmm.
we really are a close knit family. Most of us are in our 50s and 60s and 70s now, and we are as close now as we were when we were born. But that's how my dad kind of raised us. You look out
Right.
for each other. So
Right,
yeah, that was
right.
my
I can
mom and dad.
understand. Doctor, quite frankly, you've had a lot of death around you.
Yes.
If anybody knows how to handle it, I guess there's a lot that you've personally experienced that you've put into the walk. The title represents
Yes.
literally and metaphorically, of course. How do you portray this particular journey? I'm going to put this book back up again. There we go. How do you portray this?
The journey itself is first of all, an embracing. You embrace death. And my dad was one of 34 children. My dad was a sharecropper. One of his younger brothers just passed 2 years ago, and I eulogized my uncle. But I remember asking him, I said, Unc, at the time he had buried 20 of his siblings.
Oh,
I said, you buried 20 siblings. How do you get through it? And he said, Noah, he said, it's just one day at a time. He said, there's no certain way. That resonation took place when my sister, who journeyed cancer, who lived with me the last 65 days, almost 2 years ago.
mm-hmm.
And I watched her deal with the loss of her husband and the loss of her brother-in-law.
Oh,
I watched my sister handle that process with such grace. And it taught me a thing or two because I was still reeling in the tragic loss of my son-in-law.
right.
And when I lost her, I was in the process of doing the book because it was part dedicated to her, because I watched her walk. I watched her widow's walk. And what these three things I learned from the journey in a widow's walk. One is you embrace it. And the embracing only you and God can embrace. You can pray, you can fast, but only you and God can embrace that. The next thing, you have to face it. You can't fix what you don't face. And sometimes facing it doesn't look as pretty, but you got to face it. And lastly, you fight through with faith. And that's the journey. That's the walk. And it covers all of that through all 13 chapters.
Right, all of that, yeah. It's a progression, all right. I tell you, yep, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time.
Yes.
How does the theme of love manifest, after loss in the book itself, in A Widow's Walk?
Well, it manifests because what it does is it takes you through an understanding where now that you're facing death and you face it only you and you alone, what began to manifest in you is the love you have for the person you've lost, but also what manifests is the love they've had for you, although they're gone. Mm-hmm. And you work through the two, and it brings you to a place of now understanding how to love again. The Bible teaches that love covers a multitude, and that multitude has no number. As large as you can imagine, that's a multitude. Right. And how you love again is to love again. How you love again.
Are you referring there to where people get married again or meet somebody again?
Looking for love again. I counseled a family who had lost their mother, but prior to them losing their mother, they lost a sibling. And their mother was just concerned about just a few. And they were like, well, Mama, you have other children.
Right.
And they had to understand that it's not that she didn't recognize all the children. She was a little closer to that one than the others.
Right.
And that part of the walk is what helps you kind of put in perspective, that journey itself, because some days are going to be easy.
Some easy, some extremely hard. But you're not suggesting that love ends with death, are you? It transforms.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Continues in. Well, you say it continues in other forms.
It does. It does. It's a continuum.
Define that for me.
Love, you lose the person you love, but you never lose the love for the person. That love you lost is in the physical. That love began to manifest every day when you hear a song, that love reminds you. You smell a fragrance, that love reminds you. A certain holiday, a birthday, or you see the kids, or you see a niece or nephew who is their favorite. Yeah. Love begins to show up in all of the categories, knowing that you lost them. What you love about them is still resident.
Okay. So what role does resilience play then in Widow's story?
Wow. Resilience would be the wheels that carries you forward. Because some days you don't want to get out of bed. Some days you don't want to do anything. Some days you just want to cry. Resilience has its place because what it does is it starts to reaffirm some reassurances. The greatest part of resilience is that part of diligence. You have to do it just one piece at a time, consistently, one moment at a time.
And how does the book address the tension between honoring the past and moving into the future?
In chapters 2, 3, and 4, it helps individuals to take a close look at where their process is. There's steps of grief, and in the process of grief, you have anger, you're numb, and you can't believe it. Those top 3 or 4, and in those, what it does is it helps you to say, okay, I'm either here or I'm there. But you have to be honest enough with yourself to admit,
Right.
I'm still upset about this. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still numb to this.
Got to
Still trying
face
to
it.
figure this out.
Are there
Yes.
moments of conflict, do you think, or reconciliation, between these two?
I believe there's a sense of conflict as much as there's a sense of confidence, and the more confident an individual becomes in their walk, in that journey, the more they're able to defy the conflict, because conflict is going to happen, because there's a war that's going on with the love you had and the love you lost, the
Yeah.
person that was there and the person that's gone.
Are you a great believer of, well, I am, they're still with you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're talking with Dr. Noah C. McArthur, Honorable PhD, and his book is A Widow's Walk. In fact, I've got a couple of testimonials I'd like to show here. Just a couple. Amanda Richards,
Yes.
book reviewer and podcast host. She says A Widow's Walk is a beautiful blend of pastoral wisdom and heartfelt compassion. It reminds us that faith is stronger than sorrow.
Absolutely.
And Diane Shelton says she's an author and a literacy coach. 5 stars again. Dr. McArthur's words are more than encouragement. They are healing. And this book is a lifeline for anyone who has walked through grief.
Yes.
They're both very good and very nice. And they highly recommend A Widow's Walk. And it can be bought at your store. The font at the bottom shows this is your site, correct?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Modern Day Moses Bookstore.com is where it can be bought, but it's also on Amazon and so on, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, and the others as well. Well, all right. I've shown your mom. I've shown that. What ways do you think that the community or the support of friends, family, faith, therapy at a time of loss, how does that factor into widows' healing? And what do you suggest? Because a lot of people say, no, I want to be left alone. Please just leave me alone. I don't want to mix. I don't want to mix with anybody. What's the importance of such connections, do you think?
I think the most important connection is connectivity. Stay connected. And what you're connected to, stay connected to a system. And that system can be a support system. Sometimes it's easy for individuals to say, I just want to be left alone, until they're left alone. It's almost like, I don't mind being in the dark until you're in the dark. Then you look for the light switch.
Right.
But what happens is when individuals say, I want to be left alone, I totally get it.
Right.
And silence is one thing, but the presence of value is invaluable. And I mean literally by that, when someone knows that you are present, whether in mind, body, or spirit, that's what they need. Because when they say, I want to be left alone, what they're saying is, I don't want to really hear this right now, but don't go too far.
Right.
Don't go far. Don't, at least check on me,
Yeah.
check in on me. Call me.
Check in on me. So are there specific rituals or symbols, metaphors that you, the author in this particular book, A Widow's Walk, that you use to convey healing or transformation?
Yes, one of the greatest I emphasize throughout the whole book is faith and process. Your faith is what's going to carry you. The process is what's going to keep you. Your faith will help you when nothing else will, And it's something about faith. Faith is as paramount as the nose on our face. Have you ever tried to hold your nose and keep your mouth closed and breathe? That's how invaluable faith is.
Right.
Well, the process is what you look at, you know. So after you finally gather your thoughts and you start letting your nose go and opening your mouth so you can breathe again, you
Right.
have to trust the process. And the process is one that's just going to take its time. No one can really tell you how long the process should last. But when you get to the point to where you're upset with the process, at least trust the processor. And that's the creator himself.
Trust. On the bottom here, I've got your podcast that can be heard on most of the popular podcast platforms. It's called Modern Day Moses, and it's
Yes.
heard on Apple and Spotify and a lot more out there across the nation. So people can follow you on that as well, which is pretty good. And what about how does the widow deal with identity? And I'm talking, it's the poor guy always tends to go 10 years before the woman normally.
Yes.
Right? Maybe that's going to change. But how does the widow deal with identity after her spouse's death?
That's a powerful question. Every Wednesday, we've been now years, but every Wednesday we do what we call a widow's walk. And it's a devotional. And we literally get into identity. And identity is paramount for a widow and a widower because they are now able to identify life and death. And the way they identify life and death, they have experienced a partner, a mate, a covenant relationship that is now dissolved to death. Their identity has to culminate a sense of faith beyond futility and frustration beyond strength. And sometimes it happens just the opposite. You have more strength than frustration, and some days you have more frustration than strength. But the faith that actually culminates it all reminds you that earth has no sorrow, no pain that heaven cannot heal. And that's what helps the process in her identity, in his identity.
Right. I was hoping I could find something I wanted to play. I think this is it. Let's have a look.
Changes everything.
Yeah, I was impressed with
The silence.
I was impressed with your video. We might just show
questions.
that, I think.
The emptiness that follows can feel overwhelming. In A Widow's Walk, Dr. Noah McArthur offers a guiding hand through the hardest journey of all, life after losing a loved one. With wisdom, compassion, and faith, this book becomes more than words. It becomes a companion, reminding you that healing is possible and hope still shines ahead. A Widow's Walk, a journey through grief, towards strength, faith, and renewal. Find your path forward. Available now wherever books are sold.
Yeah. All right. So now the one thing I do want to touch on is because you help so many people. I want to talk about this. Your career now, as well as everything else you do, but you do a lot of consulting work. Right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I touched earlier on organizations as well as private. Give me an example of what you would do in a case like that.
Sure. I'm a serial entrepreneur in one sense. I still pastor. I have a ministry that my entire ministry is around people. It's my name. My name is Noah, and the acronym for Noah is nothing ordinary about him, nothing ordinary about her, which is where the name of the company Noah Presents come from. Ironically enough, in the book of Ezra, the Bible teaches the king had no sons. He named his daughter Noah, and she inherited all that she had. Why I do that? There's extraordinary in all of us. So what I do for most of the part is help individuals to understand the extraordinary that all of us have opportunity to embrace. In business, I help businesses to grow from their bottom line, but to embrace the extraordinary opportunities that exist. Personally, I help individuals to see the extraordinary that they're missing every day by living an ordinary life. but extraordinary is available. And personally, I promote with my grandkids and my children, extraordinary is who we are. Matter of fact, when the word says we were fearfully and wonderfully made, we're made with such wonder that when even the enemy sees us, he has to take a double take before he come over there.
Right.
He's coming, but he must at least take a double take before he gets there. But that's me in my consulting. I take the same process. The
Interesting.
extraordinary.
Very interesting indeed. Okay, so I wanted to talk about where you could buy the book. Of course, we talked about your own Modern Day Moses bookstore. Interesting name. moderndaymosesbookstore.com. You've got a LinkedIn URL to find. You're on Twitter. You're on Facebook. And it's all there. But the biggest thing is to go to, I would think, is your website, correct?
Yes.
Which is that one right there. And they can also contact you there if people want to. They can email you.
Yes.
I do often mention that, noah.mcarthur, McCarthur.author at outlook.com. But I would strongly suggest you go to the website, and
Yes.
everything is on there for you to be able to follow through with. And who is this book for?
The book is for anyone who's had a loss. Loss is the same process, whether you lose a job, you lose your health, you lose your footing in life, you lose a loved one. Loss is identical across the board. You lose a pet. Loss is the same. My dad used to tell me all the time, he said, son, he said, there's a language, there's a word that sounds the same in every language. I said, what's that, Pop? He said, ouch. Loss is the same. Loss is the same. Ouch.
He was a wise old man, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a wise dude. My dad was a wise guy. He really was. No pun intended. He was a wise guy.
Okay. Well, the book, folks, The Widow's Walk, embraces a journey of love and healing and resilience in this heartfelt story of a widow's walk through grief.
Yes.
Dr. Noah C. McArthur, Honorable PhD. It's a great nonfiction book. Thanks for coming on, Doc. I
Thank you for having me, Mark.
You've got a terrific message there. And one more question I'd like to ask you about A Widow's Walk. Looking back at it, writing it and looking back, at the end of the book, what have you observed about, her direction, her destination, outlook? Has it shifted from the beginning when you started to write?
Yes, it has. And as a matter of fact, it shifted so that there's a sequel to the book. And the sequel is really on its way. And
there's always a sequel.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
And we've reached out. I've found several widows and widowers alike, and they all have the same response, and that there's a city without walls. And so the sequel is A Widow's Walk, A City Without Walls. But I'm having others to co-author with me that have actually been in that situation. Matter of fact, in the opening of the book, right before the foreword, there are about 5 or 6 testimonials from individuals who have lost a mate, a spouse. And they actually give their insight. And that's how the sequel will actually take place.
Fabulous. It's a good idea. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good thing to be doing today. Co-authoring is getting popular, actually. Yes. All right. Well, everything's there. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned.
Pleasure's been all mine.
I think your book is lovely, and I think it's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people. And it can be got at moderndaymosesbookstore.com directly, or go to Amazon, or all sorts of places to be able to buy it. And I think it'd be a lovely gift. It'd be a nice gift to give to somebody, particularly somebody who has lost somebody dear to them in recent times, And as the doc says, it doesn't matter what was the reason, it could be all sorts of things. I just lost a dear friend lately in a motorcycle accident, unfortunately. That was a bit of a shock. Yeah. And, we had a lovely celebration of life for her, which was really nice. But it was a shock. And you got to go through all the process. You got to go through everything. This is a nice book. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Doctor.
you so much, Mark.
It's been an absolute pleasure meeting you, and we'll talk when you get that sequel out.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we will.
All right. You stay there for me so we can download, okay? Don't go away. All right. Well, thorough gentleman. Dr. Noah C. McArthur. The book was called A Widow's Walk, if you didn't know that. Embrace a journey of love, healing, and resilience in a heartfelt story of a widow's walk through grief. Now, whether you're on a spiritual journey in leadership or searching for a deeper meaning in a complex world, this book offers the perspective of a modern-day Moses, calling people out of confusion into divine destiny. All right, it's a message for the masses, really. It's a message for the moment, and it can be got on his site and everywhere else. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Great authors coming up, interesting people coming onto the show. Remember, it's dedicated to authors, nothing like a good book. Let's discover your book. Let's help promote your book. Hopefully it'll get some sales for your book for you, and instead of stacking up in the garage, as we say. Nothing like a good book. So, I always ask you to be kind. Oh, do me one favor, if you would. With this industry, you've got to do that, because otherwise I can't help more authors. So please, sponsor the thing. When I say sponsor, I mean, follow, right? Follow on the channel and subscribe to the channel. And that will help greatly, because the more we can be seen, the more authors will want to come on the show, the more they can share. But the biggest deal is it's the more we can help. All right. That's the big goal. So I'd appreciate that.